Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching this weekly ag weather update brought to you by the Farm Credit Associations of North Carolina. Well, before I give you the long-range forecast over the next 3 months, which will be at the end of this video, I want to take a step back and just look at what last year gave us. These are maps that show you the statewide average precipitation ranks on the right and the statewide average minimum, and I chose minimum on purpose here, minimum temperature ranks on the left. If we had to define 2018, it was, as you can see here, the wettest year on record. And of course, Hurricane Florence played a major role in this. But look at how wet much of the eastern half of the country was. In fact, many states there setting their all-time wettest. But what was very interesting about this last growing season was how warm it was in our overnight low temperatures across the southeast and across the southwest. We saw many states at all-time record, like Virginia and North Carolina, with many states there having a top 10 warmest year, basically because of warm overnight low temperatures. That's just an interesting perspective I want to put on the kind of our long-range kind of look back here at what had happened, and think about that moving forward too. So speaking of moving forward, when we look over the last 14 days, this is going to tell us how we're kind of set up for the next 14 days. Now, in the map that you see over there on the left, this is showing you locations that had over 100% normal precipitation. And what we see here is that much of the East Coast, getting all the way down into the southeast here, so I'm kind of outlining here really the Cotton Belt and Peanut Belt, we've been relatively drier than average. You can really see the dominance of that higher atmospheric pressure when you come over here to the parts of the Carolinas, where we see that over the last 14 days, we really haven't piled up too much precipitation at all. You go just a little bit north and west, and the flood threat in through here is big. We have a lot of rivers already at flood stage and causing some major problems in there in the Ohio River Valley. Well, things are about to change for the Carolinas. We're about to move into a bit of a wetter pattern. Now, take a look at this. Over the next week, we are going to be seeing at least 2 systems moving through the eastern half of the country, finally bringing up some of our precipitation totals here, getting us between a ½ inch and over an inch of rainfall for parts of the Carolinas. Much, much heavier back here over towards Tennessee and Kentucky, where we may get 2 to 5 inches of rain. Now, I just want to show you what we're talking about in terms of snowfall, because most of our weather systems are going to be tucked away in the flow pattern of the atmosphere. It looks like this. There will be a ridge over the southeast that will try to rebound at times, and therefore our low pressure system track is going to be primarily coming out of Colorado and the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas, and then racing on to the north and east like this. So what does that mean? That means we'll get quite a bit of return flow around this high pressure system, bringing in that moisture, but the snow is going to pretty much stay to our north. We don't have a dominant enough high pressure system sitting here where I'm circling to get enough cold air to push these systems to the south in the near term. So again, we're just looking out over the next week at this point. Now, the whole thing is set up in the Pacific, where we have a whole bunch of weather systems lined up, racing through the Gulf of Alaska, hitting the northwest like that, and then the Pineapple Express coming in like this. And it's going to set us up with a really strong subtropical jet, which is going to be the main driver of our weather systems moving across the Carolinas here in the coming week to 15 days. By the way, I just want to show you this before we get off of this map here. Look at this system going toward Hawaii, this cutoff low. It's all a part of the flow pattern that will be dominating what we're going to be seeing in the Carolinas. It's neat how connected we are to the Pacific Ocean. Well, this is that connection. Split flow right there. See that? And this we call the Pineapple Express, and it is shoving a lot of moisture into California. So major flooding in California. We're talking about piling up several more feet in the Sierra Nevada mountains. But look at what happens as it's come across parts of Texas, all the way over to the East Coast. That is going to be the thing we're going to have to watch here in the near term. So let's take a look at our short-range, high-resolution NAM model. We're going to have higher atmospheric pressure sitting off the East Coast. So what are you going to see as I start this off? A lot of flow like this, bringing in widely scattered showers in the day on Monday, but then much more organized as this big low pressure system takes shape here and goes on off to the north and east and drags a big cold front through our area. So let's kind of take a look at how this all unfolds. If we start you off here at 4 a.m. on Monday, let's get through the day on Monday. That was the widely scattered rain we saw on Monday kind of coming through the Carolinas, but here it is. Early in the morning on Tuesday, look at the big frontal boundary pushing through Tennessee, Kentucky, through the lower part of the U.S. there, down southern part of the U.S., I should say, down in Mississippi, Alabama. And that front finally gets brought through. There's plenty of moisture, so expecting some showers and storms. This is Tuesday afternoon, evening, and early kind of overnight hours. After that goes through, cold air comes in behind it. But really, just to get us started off again, we had the rain on Monday. There it is. And the big front coming through throughout the day on Tuesday, and then sweeping in some colder air behind this. Overall, getting us through Wednesday morning, we're going to be seeing in this area widespread ½ inch to possibly an inch, maybe some more in some of the areas where the thunderstorms or the showers kind of follow one another. We call that training. Just to make a point though, look to your west. This region right in through here, which just had all of that rainfall, 2 to 5 inches, is expected to get another 2 to 5 inches of rain. So major flooding just on the other side of the Appalachian Mountains here. If we kind of stretch this out over the next 10 days, we got 3 systems lined up. Let's get this started again here. There's the first system that goes through on Tuesday. See it sweeping through there? Then higher pressure dominates after that. Another system just pushed on the west coast. It takes form there right in the middle part of the country. So look at this. I've now got you out Friday midday. Here is a stormy into our week. Rain coming through Friday night to Saturday morning. There it is. And then watch, here comes the next system. Monday of the following week. So I'm out here on on February 18th. Here's our next system pushing through. Now, there is a bit of a change in this system in that it's taking a bit more of a southerly track. And if that happens, it'll be this system again on the 19th of February that I'm going to have to watch much more carefully as for potential for a freezing rain event, maybe bringing that snow a little bit farther to the south. But again, this is looking pretty far out here at this next system, but it's been pretty consistently dropping this one a little bit farther to the south. So early next week, we'll watch this one together with my next weekend's video. But that's 3 systems lined up to finally bring us in some precipitation. And again, that system on the 19th is one we're going to have to be concerned about. Now, the pattern is not changing, and that is what I really want you to see here. I'm going to play this fast, but there's 15 days of troughs and ridges. Now, what you're going to see is you're going to continue to see the reloading of a trough out west. Yes, it will keep sending these little short waves that come sneaking through the flow like this, kicking off low pressure systems, but overall, the flow pattern keeps a ridge in the Gulf of Alaska, and it keeps this trough feature here over the western United States and this ridge kind of over the southeast. So that's just going to keep taking our systems on a track just like this. They're going to drag fronts through the southeast, through the Carolinas, bringing in the rain here and the storms. We got to watch out for this. That trough that you see sitting off the east coast there. I'm going to watch it carefully to see if it ever is able to connect well with the troughs that come sweeping out of the middle part of the country. If they do, that's what's going to give us the chance for really dipping one of these storm tracks. And I know my drawing's kind of getting messy here, but I'll draw it in white. Get one of these storm tracks to dip a little bit farther to the south, potentially causing some issues with some more winter-like weather for the Carolinas. But we're going to have to watch it together. It'll be something that will happen next week if it is going to happen. Watch what temperatures do. You will see that because overall we're dominated with a trough out west and this ridge that sets up over the southeast, we're going to see more often than not warm air advection coming up into this area, keeping things warmer than average. So look, as I play this forward, yeah, we get a couple of cold air intrusions, but for the most part, if there is a place that has the best chance at staying warmer than average, it is going to be the kind of the Atlantic coastal plain down into the southeast and Gulf Coast states. Meanwhile, bitterly cold air is continually hitting the northern plains from Montana all the way to Nebraska, even over to my home state of Illinois. So this is this pattern, and it is stuck in this pattern for a while. Okay, let's quickly take a look at what's going on in South America. As we're planting this second crop, this safrinha crop, we do see the warmer conditions building into Brazil throughout this week. But more importantly than that, to tell you what's going on in Brazil, I got to take you over to Australia, because what you see in through here is when the Mad-Julian oscillation gets into phases 7 and 8. And you see how the cloud cover? That is where we have a lot of our tropical thunderstorm activity. And if the MJO is in phases 7 and 8, it's important for the Brazilian monsoon. Meanwhile, look at this. The northern part of Australia is going to keep that warm bias, but a big cold front's pushing through the south. It will be dry here in the northern part, but maybe return to more normal rainfall, at least for the next week or so in the southern regions. Again, quite important to keep an eye on that area for cotton right now. But coming back to South America, America, look, we see this wetter pattern evolving right here where we're planting a lot of this cotton and corn crop. Well, that is because the MJO is going over into phase 8 and 1 and 2, and those are the wetter phases for Brazil. So this is going to stick around for much of the month of February, even into the beginning of March, as the MJO is dominating the Brazilian monsoon. And this will be very important for corn and cotton grown in South America. So we'll keep a close eye on it for you. To wrap this up, let me give you some longer term perspective. We had just last week the latest update from the Long Range European model. This is the premier global long range forecast model, and this is what it is picking up on. It is certainly picking up on that cold pattern through the month of February, sticking there with warmer than average conditions across the south, getting up into the Carolinas. We will see quite frequently that trough out west. Now, what I am really trying to hone in and understand is how strong will that subtropical jet be? Because if it is quite strong, we'll bring in quite a bit more precipitation into this area. Now, the month I have the least confidence in forecast for right now is March. March is normally a very volatile month, but the longer range model is picking up on a cool pattern here that may extend all the way down into the southeast. What we don't know, though, we don't know yet is if we're going to be able to bust down that big ridge that is setting up over the southeast and at the same time get rid of the trough over the northwest. I'm just going to be honest, I just don't have any confidence with the forecast in March. It's interesting because I do have a bit more confidence with April, and that's because the long-range European model and the U.S. equivalent called the CFSV2 has been quite consistent with a cooler pattern setting up in here. We got quite a bit of warmth spreading around this, but I'll also say this. It looks as though we will be seeing an active severe weather season stretching from Oklahoma and Texas all the way to the Atlantic coast here. I'm expecting this region to be very much unlike 2018 and actually get a return toward normal of some severe weather. So we got to watch out. We got to be paying close attention to that pattern as we move into our severe weather season, which starts very soon. I'll keep you updated on it every week so that we can know what weather hazards to be watching for. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this forecast video. We want to thank you for your attention. I hope you look forward to our next video coming out next week. Thank you.